Hello and welcome back. In the previous video, I introduced SceneWeaver and explained the problems it was designed to solve. In this video, we're going to create a brand new manuscript from scratch and walk through a typical writing workflow. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a manuscript containing chapters and scenes and some example content, giving you a solid foundation for future projects. Feel free to follow along if you already have SceneWeaver installed. If you don't, you'll find download links on the website in the video description. Let's get started. So here we are in Windows, and we will double click SceneWeaver to start. Watch it load through the cycles to make sure that everything's installed properly. There we go, all done. And there we are, back to the main screen. When SceneWeaver opens, you'll be presented with the main workspace, as you can see. The first thing we need is a manuscript. To create one, select File and New Manuscript. SceneWeaver will ask you what you want as the working title. So let's select First Contact. And make sure we spell that correctly. First Contact. Now we can fill in the other details, but we really don't need to right now. Apart from maybe the country region, you may want to select that to USA if you're not in the UK, just to make sure that spelling is correct in your region. Okay, and then click Create. And there we have a new manuscript. Title is at the top. And it's created us a front cover, a back cover and a title page. The title page is pre-filled with details that we'll look at another time. So before we begin writing, let's briefly look at the main areas of the interface. On the left is the manuscript structure. This is where the chapters, scenes and other manuscript components are organised. In the centre is the editor. This is where the actual writing takes place. As your product grows, you'll spend most of your time moving between these two areas. For now, we're going to keep things simple and focus on the core writing workflow. So, every manuscript needs structure. To create a chapter, right-click the manuscript name and select Add Chapter. It will ask you if you want to add a chapter. Yes, we do. And there we have Chapter 1 added to our content. So at the moment the chapter is empty. As you can see, there's no content. Unlike a traditional word processor, content is normally organised into scenes. This allows individual sections of a manuscript to be managed independently. With chapter 1 selected, right click, add scene, right click, add scene. Yes, we want a new scene. And we now have scene 1. We're going to change the title to Arrival. Now let's create a second scene. So we can click either on the chapter or on the current scene, right click, add scene. Yes, we want to add a new scene, so this is scene 2. And we'll call that the signal. It automatically changes to apply the titles that you've put in. Our manuscript now contains a front cover, a back cover, a title, a first chapter and 2 scenes. That may seem like a small amount of structure, but even a simple novel can contain dozens or hundreds of scenes. Organising content this way makes large products significantly easier to manage. Let's start the arrival scene. The editor is now ready for us to start writing. So, for this example, I'm going to enter a short piece of text. Let's get my keyboard in the right place. The shuttle, the ascended through the thin atmosphere and settled onto the colony landing pad. New line. After 6 months of travel, Sarah finally stepped onto the surface. The settlement looked smaller than she expected. Okay, we've got a spelling error because it does highlight immediately when you make a spelling error and offers you to correct it. There we go. So that now becomes part of the manuscript. So let's add just a little bit more. Most of the buildings were prefabricated modules connected by enclosed walkways. Everything looked functional, but little attention had been paid to appearance. Okay, and we can make that all one long paragraph if we wish, or we can split it up into sentences. For now we'll keep it as one paragraph, and then we'll move on to the second scene, signal. And notice the editor changes the display. Notice that the editor changes to display the content associated with the selected scene. Each scene maintains its own text while remaining part of the larger manuscript. Let's enter some text here as well. Content first. 3 days after arriving, Sarah received an unusual report from one of the survey teams. The repeating signal had been detected several kilometers. Got that wrong, haven't I? So let's use the spell check again. Kilometers. There it is. Beyond the edge of the colony. And then we'll do a little more. The transmission was weak, intermittent, and appeared to be some form, not sort, that's a better word, of distress signal. Okay, so again, spelling errors, we'll correct those. Appeared and unusual. Okay, so now we've got two scenes. If we click on the manuscript, it shows that both scenes are in this chapter. So let's go back to viewing the entire chapter all in one go, or we can just choose smaller parts. What you will notice is the colour changes because you cannot edit text upstream. You must edit on the lowest section available. If we wanted to, we could select more scenes and then split the scenes into sections. But this is enough for today. One of the advantages of SceneWeaver's approach becomes obvious when a manuscript changes. Let's imagine that we've decided that the signal should be discovered before Sarah arrives at the colony. In a traditional document, that might involve cutting and pasting sections of text. In SceneWeaver, we simply move the scene. There we go, that's better. So the manuscript, once you've moved it, changes immediately. So if we look at the manuscript level, those two scenes in chapter 1 have reversed, following exactly what we've done in the text. Nothing needs to be copied, pasted or rewritten. As projects become larger, the flexibility becomes increasingly valuable. So, viewing the manuscript, which we've already done, because we're working with individual scenes, we're building up a single manuscript. SceneWeaver combines all these elements into a complete work. The manuscript is not a collection of disconnected fragments. Instead, it's a structured project made up of manageable components. This approach allows you to focus on individual sections without losing sight of the larger document. So, saving your work. At this point, we've created a manuscript, added a structure, and written some content. Unlike many traditional writing applications, there is no save button. You don't need to remember to press a save button because all changes made within SceneWeaver are written directly to the manuscript as you work. In addition, SceneWeaver automatically creates snapshots to help you protect your work. Snapshots are created before any major change. So like I did earlier, I changed the scenes around. That's automatically recorded. There are also regular automatic snapshots that are generated whenever the manuscript has been modified. This allows you to focus on writing rather than worrying about your latest changes have been saved. Exporting. So now you're ready to export it, to share it to another person so they can have a read of it. Eventually, you'll want to do a full export of the entire document ready for print. SceneWeaver provides export options exactly for that purpose. To export the manuscript, select File and Export, and we get the dialog up for the export. So by default, it chooses Microsoft Word's DocX. However, it will export to any of those. So PDF for making it uneditable, and we won't change any of the settings. We'll just export, tell it where to export it to. In this case, it will be in Documents, and it's done. And then we can take a look at the document that we've just produced in Documents, First Contact. There it is. So First Contact front page, First Contact. No details in there because we never entered them. Chapter 1, complete. And then the back cover. But again, we haven't edited the back cover. So that's it, done. So what we've accomplished. In just a few minutes, we've created a new manuscript, added a chapter, added multiple scenes, written content, reorganized part of the manuscript, and prepared it for export. These actions form the foundation of most projects within SceneWeaver. Whether you're writing fiction, research material, campaign notes, or technical documentation, the workflow remains largely the same. Thank you for watching. Now we've created our first manuscript, the next step is understanding how to structure larger projects effectively. In the next video, we'll start enriching our manuscript with characters, locations, and other entities. If you'd like to try SceneWeaver for yourself, you'll find the download links in the video description. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.